My brothers and sisters, Allah tells us that our sustenance is in the heavens and not in our hands or efforts. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes an oath by Himself and declares that this is the truth, as true as the fact that we speak intelligently to one another. I'll tell you a very beautiful story about this. Let me first tell you the ayat in Surah Dhariyat, ayah number 22 and 23. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. And in the heaven is your, in the skies and the heavens is your provision and that which you are promised. فَوَرَبِّ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ مِثْلَ مَا أَنَّكُمْ تَنْطِقُونَ. Then by the Rabb of the heaven and the earth, Allah is taking an oath by Himself. This is the truth. What is the truth? That your rizq is in the heavens and what has been promised to you. Just as it is the truth that you can speak intelligently to one another. Let me tell you a beautiful story of Imam al Awzai rahmatullahi alayhi. Imam al Awzai rahmatullahi alayhi was one of the great scholars of this deen, and he had his own madhab called the Zahiri madhab, which was something like we have the Hanafi madhab and the Shafi madhab and so on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His wisdom gave more prominence and more popularity to Imam Shafi, Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik and so on. But Imam Awzai's mazhab is not widely practiced or probably not even practiced at all. Wallahu alam. But he is considered to be one of the great scholars of Islam, and his rulings and so on and so forth are in all the books of fiqh, and they are consulted, and he is hugely respected and should be respected. The story is Imam al Awzai rahmatullahi alayhi, and he's written the story himself. He said that he was going on for Umrah and in the caravan that he was traveling in, the Khafila. He said that at one point this Khafila was attacked by a band of highway robbers, and this used to be a common thing in that part of the world. As late as probably 1930s, 1940s, not even 30s, 1940s or early 50s. Hajj caravans and these caravans which were going for taking pilgrims, they used to be attacked by highway robbers and so on and looted, because they knew that these pilgrims are going to the holy places for a long period of time. So obviously they would be carrying provisions and money and so on. So these people, they would attack them and they would loot them. So Imam Awzai rahmatullahi was traveling in this caravan, and the caravan was attacked by a band of highway robbers. And of course, you can imagine the kind of confusion, people screaming, whatnot. Some people got hurt and whatnot. Suddenly, Imam al Awzai rahmatullahi found himself, he was standing there, and the gang leader of these highway robbers, with a naked sword in his hand, he came in front of Imam al Awzai rahmatullahi, and he said to him, who are you? So now this great Imam, this great Sheikh, this great teacher, he didn't say I am so-and-so and this is what I do. He said, I am a teacher. He said, I am Awzai. Then the man said, what do you do? He said, I am a teacher, I teach children Quran. He said, I teach children Quran. The highway robber said, so read some Quran for me. Recite some Quran for me. Imam al Awzai rahmatullahi recited just this one ayah. وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. And in the heavens is your rizq and whatever you have been promised. You know, my brothers and sisters, it's not a matter of the beauty of the tilawat in the sense of the sound of it. It's not music, it's not a song. When somebody who lives by the Quran, recites Quran, mentions Quran, it has a different effect. And that's the reason why we need to live by the Quran. So Imam al Awzai rahmatullahi, he said, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ. In the heavens is your provision and all that you've been promised. This highway robber, this man standing with a naked sword in his hand, his hand started to shiver. The sword fell from his hand. He said, this is the Quran? Al Awzai rahmatullahi said, yes. He said, you mean this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's word? This is Allah speaking? Imam al Awzai said, yes. He said, if my rizq is in the heavens, this is true? Al Awzai said, yes. This is what Allah is saying. The man said, then why am I doing this work? He said, why am I then doing this work? Why am I a robber? Why am I looting people? So he then said to Imam al Awzai, he called his people. He said, come. They all came. He said, our rizq is in the heavens. So we will ask Allah for this thing. There's no need to do this work. Because this work is haram. Robbery is haram. So he said to Imam al Awzai, I am making tawbah now, and his whole band, whole gang, are making tawbah now, and we are giving up this work of highway robbery. The recitation of only one ayah. Of course, everybody was very happy. Whatever they had looted, they returned all their material, all their goods to them, and the band of robbers or ex-robbers, because they had made tawbah, alhamdulillah, they left. Allah said, alhamdulillah, he said, we are very thankful, we thanked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so on. We continued our journey. He said, we reached Makkah, I made Umrah. He said, after that one day, very early in the morning, he said, I was making tawaf. And I heard somebody weeping. I heard somebody crying. And he said, the way the person was weeping was so pathetic, as if a person is in complete despair. So tragic. And Al Awzai gives an example which is very graphic and very powerful. He said it was like a woman would weep, whose child was taken out of her, a mother with a baby. If the baby was snatched from her hands and the throat of the baby was cut and the baby was given back, slaughtered in front of his mother's eyes, how that woman would weep with such tremendous tragedy. So Imam Awzai said that I was absolutely, when I heard this weeping, he said it really affected me. So I looked, and he said there was this man that leader of the band of robbers. He said he was sitting in front of the Kaaba, looking at the Kaaba, and he's making tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he's weeping like this. Almost like as if he's in despair. So Al Awzai said, I went to him. And the man looked up at me. And he said, I recited the second ayah. فَوَرَبِّ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِنَّهُ لَحَقٌّ مِثْلَ مَا أَنَّكُمْ تَنْطِقُونَ. He said, by the Rabb of the heaven and the earth. Then by the Rabb, فَوَرَبِّ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Allah is taking an oath by himself. By the Rabb of the heavens and the earth, this is the truth. What is the truth? What he had told him there. Of his samai rizqukum, that your rizq is in the heavens. And whatever you were promised. And Allah is giving an example and saying, this is the truth. It is as true as you talk to each other. Now, amazing. This man looks up at him and he said, Allah Ta'ala took an oath. He said, Allah took an oath for me to convince me. Allah took an oath so that I would believe His word. He said, why does Allah have to take an oath? Who am I? I am nothing. Why does my Rabb Jalla Jalaluhu have to take an oath to convince me? Al Awzai says, the man was a simple man. He was not an alim, he was not a great scholar. So he did not have all the hijabat, all the curtains that color our perception, our meaning. Is talking about the scholars. He said he was a simple man. The Quran straight entered his heart. He said, this is the word of Allah. This is Allah speaking to me. And Allah is telling me, He's taking an oath to convince me. He said, who am I? I am nothing. My brothers and sisters, I don't have to say anything more. Just this one story with these two ayat is enough for us. Ask yourself, as I asked myself many years ago, did Allah speak the truth? Do we believe Allah? If we believe Allah, then remove from this moment onwards, remove every figure, every doubt, every worry, every concern about risk from your heart and throw it away. Because وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ, Allah is saying your risk is in the heavens. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Inna Rabbi yabsutu rizqa liman yasha wa yaqdir. Allah said, say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Qul inna Rabbi yabsutu rizqa liman yasha wa yaqdir. Say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, verily and truly my Rabb is the one who will give and who will give, expand and constrict.